Okay, welcome to Kelly and Murray. This is the first episode without Kelly. It's just me. It's Murray and Murray. Murray versus Murray, you might say, John. Kelly, not her fault. Traveling at this time of year is tough. Her flight was rescheduled. We got a lot of moving parts this week. We couldn't really move the show. And I don't even know that we need Kelly. I mean, do we need Kelly to recap the weekend?
Oh, we're here. It's still a weekday, or it's still a work day.
Yeah,
Holiday hasn't happened yet.
I think we're fine. Saturday we did very well. We did good business on the F1 race, a lot more than I thought we were going to do. Max Verstappen won the race. We did very well on that. Sunday was okay. I'll tell you, the last few Sundays have all been the same. We do well in the morning, and we lose every afternoon game. Every favorite wins and covers in the afternoon. I don't think we've won an afternoon game since Denver beat Kansas City. I think that was 3 weeks ago. We just haven't done well in the afternoon. So Sunday was kind of so-so. And then we got the big game tonight, Philadelphia, Kansas City, Monday Night Football. I noticed our team, of which, John, you're a part, put up a lot of Taylor Swift-related same-game parlays on the app. Whose idea was that?
I think that was your idea, wasn't it?
My idea. Survivor, let's talk about this. So Kelly and I are still in Survivor. We are only in Survivor because we did not have the Commanders to use. The football team, the Redskins, whatever you call them. We used them in week 1 against Arizona. We couldn't use them on Sunday against the Giants. The Giants win that game. They knocked out. They were the most picked team, Washington was. We had Jacksonville. Jacksonville dispatched of Tennessee. So Kelly and I make it to Thanksgiving. Easiest week ever, unit, because
what do you think of your hairdo with how'd you look with Trevor Lawrence's hair?
Trevor Lawrence has a fine haircut. I got a buddy that calls Trevor Lawrence the doll. Says he looks like a China doll. I watched that game yesterday. I wasn't really impressed with Trevor Lawrence at all, but the kid that Tennessee has playing, I don't know if he's going to make it, man.
2 rushing touchdowns for Lawrence.
I don't know if the Tennessee quarterback is going to make it, but very easy weekend for us. Dallas, we've already used. San Francisco, we've already used. Miami, we've already used. We've even used the other side of a couple of these games. We already used Seattle. We already used Washington, like I said. We have no choice. We're using Detroit. Detroit's our pick on Thursday. Kelly said that we shouldn't talk about this anymore on the air, but Kelly's not here. Kelly's stuck at an airport in the Bahamas, so I'll talk about if Detroit wins next week, we can't use Kansas City. We've already used them. They play at the Raiders. The next biggest favorite on the board, if you can believe this, John, is Baltimore. They're a 4-point favorite at the Chargers. They're minus 200 on the money line. That is the next biggest favorite. Another option, Tennessee. They're at home against Carolina. Tennessee's 3-1 at home this year. They're 0-6 on the road. But at home, they've beat the Chargers. They beat the Bengals. They beat the Falcons in a game Kelly was at on one of her previous vacations. Maybe that's an option. Minnesota hosts your Bears. What do you think about that?
Well, I'm pretty sure the Bears are like 1-9 in their last 10 divisional games ever since Ryan Poles said they're going to take the North and never give it back. So you might be pretty safe with that one.
That's an option. That's on Monday night. One other option I noticed this morning, and we're going to get into this later on the show, a lot of sharp money on Denver. Denver has now won 4 games in a row after winning last night against the Vikings. They host Cleveland on Sunday afternoon. Cleveland just signed Joe Flacco to play quarterback for them. Denver went from -1 to -2.5. That could be a survivor option. I'll talk to the lovely Kelly about it. Let me ask you this. Do you think that Kelly not being on the show is going to hurt ratings? I mean, don't you think a lot of the viewers think I'm every bit as pretty as Kelly?
Yeah, why? I don't see why not. I don't know why the ratings would go down. This is just as good or better, right?
Probably. Let's do this one too before we get into Thanksgiving Day games. This is the source of controversy from your girl Kelly. I do a show with Sammy Panayotovich at SP Shoot on X. It's for the NESN network, the New England Sports Network. The whole premise of the show is we're promoting the Westgate Las Vegas Super Contest. So I pick a game against Super Contest line. He picks a game against Super Contest line. We do the show on Thursdays after the lines have come out. Your girl, your friend Kelly, she wants to spoil it for everybody. She can't wait until Thursday. She can't watch.
She got it wrong too, didn't she? It was the wrong pick.
Well, what did I say? What did I say on the show last week? I said, Kelly, the Super Contest lines aren't even out yet, and I'm still looking. I don't even know what I'm going to pick yet. That's what I said. But your girl, so she can't wait until Thursday. She can't even be bothered to watch a 2.5-minute clip on the internet. She wants to spoil Sam's show. How do you feel about that? You're a media guy.
Well, it is pretty easy to find too. Shoot, Sammy P's Twitter every week, same spot for all the past 10 weeks that have won. But also, I heard that next week you're going to give away your list of games you're considering if we get the Kelly and Murray Twitter or X to 10,000 followers.
Oh, am I doing that? Is that a fact? I'll do that. I don't care.
That's all it took. That's all it took.
I've got Kansas City. Excuse me, Kansas City -2.5 tonight against Philadelphia to get to 11-0. Me and Sam are going to record this week on Friday. Although, if Philadelphia covers tonight, no one will care because then I'll be a paltry 10-1.
You'll be old news, bad record.
So nobody will give a shit about my 10-1 pick.
But I think Louis will be broke because he's carrying over still from week 1.
Our social media guy, Louis D'Onofrio. I'd like Louis to use some of that money he's won to take graphics lessons. He's not much of a Photoshop guy, but we got Kansas City -2.5 tonight. The next show I'll do with Sammy Boy on Friday, trying to pick a winner for week 12 of the NFL. So let's do this one first. Sorry. Detroit is a 7.5-point favorite against Green Bay. That's the early game. Detroit's 8-2. Green Bay beat the Chargers on Sunday, but that was mostly because the Chargers kept dropping passes. Right? It was.
Yeah, Keenan Allen dropped one in the end zone, bounced right off his chest. Austin Eckler fumbled on the one. He fell down, he got up, and then just fumbled it right back. And then Johnston on that final drive, perfect ball downfield and right off his hands. Probably would have been a touchdown.
It's tough. It's a lot to ask of Justin Herbert when his guys don't make plays for him. And Justin Herbert deserves blame for a lot of stuff, but he didn't deserve the blame on Sunday. Green Bay wins that game. They come in off a win. They go at Detroit. Like I said, me and Kelly are stuck with Detroit. We got no choice there. Let's go through the other games on Thanksgiving. Dallas is an 11-point favorite against the Commanders. 11-point favorite. They bet it up. They bet the total up from 46.5 to 48.5. Some sharp money there. Sharp money on the dog in the late game. Seattle is down from +9.5 all the way to +7, even money. They host the 49ers. And then not much to say about the Friday game, the Black Friday game.
First ever Black Friday game.
But don't you think that's going to become a big staple in the NFL?
Eventually, it's going to be a 7-day-a-week product, I think.
You're describing my nightmare, John. Dolphins at the Jets. Tim Boyle is in for the Jets, and Zach Wilson is out. Zach Wilson, this poor guy was running to the huddle, turned around to look at the coaching staff, he fell. That's a tough
And
scene.
I'm pretty sure their longest offensive play was a fake punt.
Man, Sunday, something in my throat. Sunday is so bad. The morning games are so bad. We just went through the TV sheet for Sunday. We're going to have the Bengals-Steelers game on the main screen with sound at 10 a.m. with no Joe Burrow. There's nothing else to choose from. Sharp guys are on Houston +1 against Jacksonville. Denver -1 against Cleveland. I mentioned that. Carolina, they took 4.5 and 4. They're at Tennessee, which might be our survivor pick. And then this one I thought was interesting. Arizona +2 against the Rams in Arizona. I liked Arizona a lot this past Sunday, John. I
Yeah,
thought Arizona was a good bet
they
Sunday.
had 3 picks too off of Stroud.
C.J. Stroud kept trying to give the game away, but he could not. Arizona refused to take it. Arizona would be better off if they still had Josh Dobbs instead of Kyler Murray, if you ask me.
Think so?
I think they'd be better off. But the big game Sunday, Philadelphia hosts Buffalo. Philadelphia's a 3.5-point favorite. And then the Sunday night game, we mentioned it, Baltimore -4 at the Chargers. That might be me and Kelly's pick. Minnesota -3.5 on Monday night against your Bears. That might be Kelly and mine's pick.
Glad to see the Bears on primetime again. Very well
Oh, yeah.
deserved.
Yeah, no, it's great. That's what America. But they won a Thursday night game at Washington.
They won
and then
2
they beat
Thursday night games.
Carolina.
I think they have the best Thursday night record in the NFL. If all the games were on Thursday, the Bears might be the best team in the league.
No, it's a real possibility. We should really consider that. Let's run through a few college plays here. Kelly won't like this. The Sharp guys took Iowa State +11.5, +11. Yeah, Kansas State kind of barely squeaked by KU on Saturday, and KU was really banged up at quarterback. Here's one near and dear to my heart: Virginia +3 against Virginia Tech. And then, of course, the big game on Saturday, Ohio State +4.5. They took 4.5 at Michigan. No Jim Harbaugh, no Coach Harbaugh, which I don't think is fair. And
did you see his video that has took the internet by storm this morning? He said locker rooms a lot like his mom's bathing suits. He likes to see them in one piece.
Jim Harbaugh said that?
Yeah.
I didn't even
Harbaughalism.
I didn't know Jim Harbaugh had the personality to say something like that.
I didn't know that you could be doing press conferences while you're suspended either. He still has to do that, but he can't coach.
No, you're too young to remember Jim Harbaugh as the Bears quarterback, are you not?
I wasn't alive, but I know it very well.
Because Mike Ditka would just destroy him. It was awesome.
Wasn't that a Monday night game against the Vikings? He changed the play or something, threw a pick six.
And then Harbaugh actually was the Colts quarterback, and they actually got to an AFC Championship game. They lost to Pittsburgh in the AFC Championship game, but he threw a Hail Mary that hadn't been caught, would have put them in the Super Bowl, where they probably would have got crushed by the Dallas Cowboys. But he was a reasonable NFL quarterback, got to a conference title game. I want to talk about this, the college football playoff. I maintain that the loser of the Michigan-Ohio State game should also get into the college football playoff. Obviously, the winner will be in the playoff. I think they should both be in.
There's a lot of qualified teams right there around there, and they're probably all going to have like the same record. Same goes for like the Pac-12. The loser of the Pac-12, do they just miss out?
But if Oregon loses, that'd be their second loss.
Well, yeah, Oregon. But if Washington loses, what do you do then?
That would be tougher. And then, unfortunately, it's not fair to anybody, but I think you have to drop Florida State out. Jordan Travis is out for the season. I don't see how they could realistically compete with these teams. I mean, are we trying to say it's the 4 most deserving teams or the 4 best teams?
I'm guessing that the playoff's going to want the 4 best teams, which is going to make it easier for like Alabama and schools like that.
Well, Ohio State lost to Michigan in this game last year in Columbus. Then they were 1 field goal away from advancing to the title game, where they would have beat TCU. They would have won the national championship. Ryan Day, he did what Pete Carroll did yesterday. I don't know if you saw the Rams-Seahawks game. Pete Carroll got it to where he was, okay, well, we're good here. It's a 55-yard field goal. No need to try to get any closer. Let's just send out the team. They missed the kick. Ryan Day, their offense was gaining yards in chunks against Georgia. All they had to do was keep moving the ball down the field. They would have won the game. They would have won the national championship. He settles for a long field goal. He missed. I don't like Ryan Day, if that's not clear. If that's not clear to you.
He doesn't like Lou Holtz.
Oh, yeah. Well, Lou Holtz is like 100 years old, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, give this guy a break. One last college football note. UNLV is a 3-point favorite at the SuperBook against San Jose State. If they win, they will host the Mountain West Championship game, which would be next Saturday here. The Pac-12 Championship game is already here next Friday. There's no way anybody even planned for that except one person. And I want to give him a shout out. His name's Matt Neverett. He's an announcer for UNLV football, basketball, baseball, and he used to be a teller at the SuperBook. Matt Neverett was the only media member that picked UNLV to win the Mountain West in the media poll before the season started. He was skewered. What a pick by young Mr. Neverett. That's pretty impressive.
When's the last time that happened? UNLV in the Mountain West Championship?
I don't think it's ever happened.
Yeah.
I don't. To my knowledge, they've never won. They've never played in the Mountain West title game. I know they've never won the Mountain West in football. What a pick by Neverett, man. It's a breeding ground for wise guys over at that counter. That's what I heard. That you produce somebody like a Dominic Picardo, like an Andrew Babikitis, like a Chase Michelson.
That's where all these Taylor Swift boos came from.
Yeah, like a Ryan Feldman, who I believe is the one behind a lot of that stuff. These guys, they're the best of the best. Mailbag?
Yeah, let's do it. Pull them up. I know a lot of the questions that we got this week are geared towards Kelly, but she isn't here. So,
what were they asking Kelly? I can try to answer them.
Yeah, let's. Answer this one as if you're Kelly. Answer this one. B Ferretti1 on Instagram said, "What's your opinion on CLV? Some people swear it's the most important thing." So answer that as if you're Kelly. Maybe even in the same voice too, if you could do that.
I don't do impressions. She would say it's meaningless. The only thing that matters is winning and losing. And then I would come in here and say, no, you're wrong. And then she'd interrupt me. Kelly's wrong. Of course it matters. The best sports bettors are just trying to get the best numbers possible over and over and over and over and over again. If you respect the market, which I do, which Kelly doesn't, then you think CLV is important.
All right. Well, this question I think is definitely for you because it's about your favorite football team. At quad_wa23 on Instagram says, "What's worse this Sunday, FedEx Field or Sam Howell?"
Well, this question is not about Liverpool Football Club. It's not about my favorite football team. At quad_wa23, this guy's getting a lot of run. He was in the mailbag last week. Is he bribing you?
I think a few of these people are they just ask good questions every week.
What was worse? FedEx Field is always worse. Quad-Wa. It's the worst stadium in the NFL. It's the worst in-game experience in the NFL. And they didn't even have hot water in the showers for the Giants or the Commanders after the game. Sam Howell, he is what he is. But I'll go with FedEx Field. Always FedEx Field's the worst.
I think Sam Howell's still up there in passing leaders, up in top 5 somewhere around there.
Well, do you think that, like, at this point, do you think passing yardage is really a key stat? I mean, doesn't that usually just mean you're losing and you're throwing all the time?
Well, I like to say that because my team's quarterback's Justin Fields. He doesn't exactly throw for the most yards.
Well,
so, yeah.
You can see how much better the Bears are when Fields is in there. And
definitely, yeah.
If they had – what was the other guy's name? Tyson
Bagent.
I mean, if Tyson Bagent was the quarterback this week, then Kelly and I would have a very easy decision. We'd be using the Vikings in survival. But because he's not, we'll have to talk about it. She said, she's texting me about it right now. She's unavailable for the show, but she's texting me all of her Survivor thoughts.
Hey, she couldn't do the show from whatever private jet she's on right now.
Or like the catamaran.
I think private jets have Wi-Fi.
I don't know. I've never been on one, John. I'm a regular guy.
I've only seen them in movies. At the Miller High Life 20 on Instagram said, "Can John ask the book to give odds on a game lands 1 point differential? Yes, no price. Game landing 1.
Does that ever happen in the NFL? Did that happen this week?
I think it happened twice this week, including in the Sunday night game last night.
Is that correct? Oh, jeez. All right, I'll have to work with those guys. Those guys I just talked about. The Babikitis. Now Babikitis is gone this whole week. I'll talk to the guys that actually work. Feldman, Heller, Picardo. See if they can get Michelson. See if they can get it up for us.
All right, we'll see if it finds a spot on the app, maybe next to the Taylor Swift boost. That's Wise Guy Wager, who's on here every week too because he asks good questions.
Is he a volume asker? Does he just like?
No, he asks one a week, but they're normally one of the better questions, so they always make the cut. So if you want to have your question read on the show, just ask a good question and not a ridiculous one like half of them are.
Okay.
Wise Guy Wager on X says, do you think the early top picks for next year's NFL draft should drop out of the season now that teams are in playoff that aren't in playoff position?
Yes, I do. I think that if their team has nothing to play for and they're going to be a top, like I like the guy's question. He wrote top draft. They should drop out. But what I don't understand is these guys that are like projected third, fourth, fifth round picks and they don't play in their bowl games. I went to the Las Vegas Bowl last year. It was Florida against Oregon State. Nobody was playing. Like what can it hurt you if you're projected to be a fourth round pick? You don't want to bother to play in the bowl game. You don't think there's any chance you could make yourself into a second round pick with a good bowl game? But if you're Caleb Williams or Marvin Harrison's not a good example because he's going to be in the playoff probably. But if Marvin Harrison's team was not going to make the playoffs, don't you think he should sit out? That's what I think it was Nick Bosa did that, right? When he was at Ohio State, he basically just left the team and went to go work out in Florida. And he ended
that was before the bowl game, so wasn't that like last year?
But what happened? He was the second overall pick in the draft. He's one of the best defensive players in the NFL. He just got a huge contract this offseason. I think if you're one of the top picks, you got to get out of there if you're not in the playoffs.
So Caleb Williams, Drake May not playing in the Bulls?
I don't think there's any. Why would they? Why if you're Caleb Williams, why would you possibly play another game for Lincoln Riley? And what does the USC fan base think about Lincoln Riley right now? They're moving to the Big Ten. Next year, they play a Big Ten schedule. They play LSU here at Allegiant Stadium. They play Notre Dame. And they don't have Caleb Williams. Good luck.
And didn't make the playoffs with them. Rink Needs a Beer on X says, why do a lot of seasoned gamblers gravitate towards the plus number on spreads? I don't hear a lot of folks backing the favorites.
You know what we see a lot of sharp guys taking favorites, especially early in the year, is on college basketball. Like I see a lot of sharp guys laying some pretty big numbers in college hoops. I think there's like almost a stigma that playing favorites is somehow automatically square and playing dogs is somehow automatically sharp. I would even argue, John, that my co-host on this show, the lovely KIV, who's not here to defend herself, which makes me able to say whatever I want. I think sometimes she is too obsessed with dogs. Is that okay? Underdogs.
It's okay statement. I think this next question kind of goes off that same question. Renzo MLG on X says, talking about value, is it better to lay the 2.5 or take the money line? Overall, what will have the highest ROI? Painful to lose games like Houston versus Bucks and Denver yesterday.
Well, here's why. I'm going to give you an answer as to why I believe it's better to lay the points at the minus 110. And it's because that's what I see our sharp accounts doing. I don't see our sharp accounts laying minus 140 that much. The sharpest players we have usually lay those points. They lay those small points. Yeah, obviously, yesterday it would hurt. It would hurt if you had Denver yesterday, no doubt about that. Or the Houston Tampa Bay game, though, I think you throw that game out because the kicker was hurt, right? Isn't that why they didn't kick the extra point? I mean, that was such a fluky situation. The Denver game yesterday, that's a tough one. But no, I see our sharper accounts laying the points, laying the minus 110. I don't see them laying 40, 50, minus 140, minus 150 on the money line.
And games don't land one, so you should be pretty safe with that 2.5.
I've never seen one. I've never seen one. But I didn't watch the afternoon games yesterday. I was watching Georgetown against American University. It was a great overtime game. So I heard that the Rams won by a point, but I didn't see it.
Yeah, it was a missed field goal at the end of the game. Another person who asks questions pretty much every week too is Vince in PGH on X says, Has Jaden Daniels' rising Heisman odds been due to tickets on him increasing liability, or does the book feel that he should be the favorite now?
Got a lot of tickets on him and on Bo Nix. So it's not based on tickets. Our liabilities on those two players are about the same. It looks to me like, maybe this is unfair, but it looks to me like LSU at 8-3 is playing to get this guy the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah, 8 touchdowns
Yeah.
this week. 8 touchdowns, 500 yards against a really tough opponent, Georgia State.
3,500 passing yards, 36 touchdowns. He's run for over 1,000 yards, 10 rushing touchdowns. Oregon is undefeated. They have bigger fish to fry. They are trying to get into the college football playoff. They can't just be playing to get Bo Nix statistics. We'll see the way the voters look at this. Another Oregon's not undefeated, but they are playing to get into the college football playoff.
Well, they did buy billboards all over the country with Bo Nix's face on it to kind of campaign for the Heisman.
Oregon has a lot of money, John. Phil Knight is a very wealthy man, so they can afford it. Right now, we've got Jaden Daniels minus 140, Nix is plus 145.
Last question on the list. Jason Still 12 on X says the Texans have better odds to make the playoffs than the Bills. Is it time to start talking about them as a legit contender?
Well, I don't know that it's not, but let's make sure that people understand the reason why the Texans have those lower odds is because of the division that they're in. Texans can win that division. Buffalo is looking up at Miami. One. Number two, though, look at Buffalo's schedule. They still have to play. We mentioned it. They play at Philadelphia this week. They play at Kansas City. They've got to go at Miami. Miami's looked like a different team at home this season. Buffalo's got to go at Miami. Buffalo also has to host Dallas, who at times has looked like the best team in the NFL. So Buffalo's really facing an uphill battle to make the playoffs. But right now, we've got them at 12-1 to win the AFC. We've got Houston at 20-1, down from 40-1 last week. And it's because if they were to get into the playoffs, the Bills would be much shorter point spreads than Houston. Buffalo would obviously be favored against Houston in a single-game scenario because they have Josh Allen. Houston's quarterback, C.J. Stroud, is having a great season, but he looked like a rookie on Sunday. He made a lot of mistakes.
Not the most difficult schedule for the Texans, too. They still play the Titans twice, Colts, Browns, Jets, Broncos. Nothing like the Bills.
What game are you looking most forward to this week, John?
This week?
Give me. Is it Vikings Bears? And say it.
No, it's not. I don't really enjoy Bears games anymore, especially after what happened last week or just yesterday. It's not the prettiest schedule. I don't know. Maybe Bills Eagles.
This looks like this 7-day period. We've got the Maui Invitational starts today. We've got the Super Bowl rematch, Eagles Chiefs tonight. Really good Thanksgiving NFL games. Some big college football games. We didn't even mention the Iron Bowl. Florida State, the Civil War, which I hope they keep playing. We got the Egg Bowl on Thanksgiving, Ole Miss, Mississippi State. We got Liverpool, Manchester City.
I don't know nothing about that.
Liverpool second in the table. Liverpool. Oh, shit. Liverpool. Look at reverse myself. Liverpool, Manchester City. Liverpool second in the table, Manchester City in first. That game's Saturday morning. Then Michigan, Ohio State. Michigan, Ohio State is my answer. That's the game. That's the game I'm looking for.
Oh, I thought you were talking strictly NFL, but yeah, if we're in college football,
this is such a great sports weekend.
Definitely a better week.
This is such a great sports weekend, man. Michigan, Ohio State, NFL. I guess you'd have to go with Bills, Eagles,
or
hopefully
the Chargers, Ravens isn't bad.
Well, hopefully the Eagles will be off a loss because it'll make me 11-0, and hopefully Liverpool will beat those just miserable Man City players on Saturday at Man City. That would make me very happy.
Yeah, we'll see. I probably won't, though. I don't think I'll be watching that.
Well, maybe you should, John. But we'll get Kelly back here next week, right? Or unless she's – I mean, does she have a vacation next week? I mean, she might. But,
I don't know. We'll have to look at the calendar.
Well, she did the show last week from the Bahamas, right? Like we moved the show up early in the day. to accommodate her because she had a chef coming over to cook them dinner. Is that correct?
I guess that's what I heard, and I think next week will be from some other island of some sort.
Well, I'll say this. Today wasn't her fault. These things happen. And let's remember to be nice to Kelly this week because Saturday is a very significant day for our girl. She has a big day on Saturday the 25th. So please reach out to her on X or Instagram that day to wish her a happy birthday.
And get Kelly and Murray 10K.